Hi everyone, I've recently done a video, well, 6 weeks or so ago it went out. Cool, this one's close behind. I recently did a video on driving in a staggered formation. Now, I did that on some, here we go. First thing is this car. That's the one that was an issue. Are they gonna just try and barge back in? So I'm just keeping back of them. That's the type of driver that's what I call the oblivion. They just have no other thought other than themselves. Going back to it, I did the video on driving in a staggered formation or a pocket of space, and I did it on rural roads. God, what a shambles, what a bad start this is, sorry everyone. I did it on urban roads, built up stuff, and we got into a good little mindset and thought process of always trying to be next to a little pocket of space. Now, I've got to head across to Manchester for some ADI training, so I've got to go on a motorway, and a few people in the comments asked whether I could do the same on some motorway work. So this is what we are doing. This vehicle next to us, I'm trying to be positive with the van, but I'm just going to see whether this driver is a pocket of space. I've also got to find my way into, or if this driver is going to sit in my pocket of space, I've also got to find my way to the right side. So all I'm going to do with this guy is just back off, because you can spot people like this a mile off. They'll probably come back into the left at the lights. Anyway, what did I say? You can absolutely spot them a mile off. So I waved to him sarcastically. No, rise above it, Ashley. But that's exactly the type of driver that we are looking out for today. We're going to make sure that we're not going to be anywhere near those people. And notice there, I could have battled it out and gone, I want that space. That reminds me of a certain female driving instructor from Leeds that I recently had a little look at one of her videos. It's not about that. Always be ready to submit and just back off. Now, we've got a situation here with the lorry. Can I get past this lorry before the bend? Yes, comfortably, so I'm taking it, no issue. But I just made sure there, as I was moving off, that there was no one walking in front of the lorry. Here, any space that's an issue to the side of me? No, totally fine, all good. Now, I'm keeping up with the flow. No one there. That's an easy one. That makes it simple. I am signalling. People think sometimes, oh, it's fine to do it, you don't have to signal. You do. This vehicle in front could be thinking about doing lane change. There we go again. It's as if I know what I'm talking about sometimes. So yeah, signals do affect people if you're within overtaking range. So, okay, that's been quite an interesting little start. Perfect little example of what I'm talking about though. So I am going to overtake. I'm doing 69. I'm slightly catching. Now I'm going to go back in because I'm assessing the speed of the four-wheel drive catching me up. And personally, best for flow, I'm just better off just backing off just a little bit close to the lorry, to be honest. And then back out after. So I know some people will say, oh yeah, they're breaking the speed limit, I don't have to. No, I totally agree, but it's not on us to be judge and jurors. What about a pocket of space with the Audi to my left? Is it going to come all the way out? I'm assessing my speed with it as well, closely. Is it going to build more speed now? Perfect. Back in, no one's going to come out into my space, and that's also something that we've got to be mindful of. So always be wary of the space that people are going to use. Is this Mercedes catching anyone? I'm also watching the vehicle behind as well. No problem there, because if the Mercedes was catching someone and this vehicle behind is catching me, there's a conflict of space. Should I go back in? I think so. No issue. That one was going to be past me by the time I needed to get back out again, so it was no issue. If it hadn't have been doing that, I maybe have been tempted there to stay in lane 2, but no issue. It actually wouldn't have affected many people, or if anyone there, but I still think that there's an element of doing the right thing is a good example, and sometimes people are going to copy that behaviour, so always be ready to do that. Are any of the lorries catching anyone else in front of them? No. Still looking for this escape route, so totally fine being here. Just taking a position to the right hand side of my lane. No one's to my right, just to get a little bit earlier view, just in case there was an issue in front of this lorry. There's not. So that's all fine. Am I going to go back in? I don't think so now. My reasoning behind it is, yes, we are catching a van, but there's a junction coming up as well, and I just don't want to be in that situation where this one was going to be filling my space as I'm wishing to move back out again. So that's not an issue either. I am catching the vehicles in the left hand side. I'm actually catching this one in front now as well. All I'm going to decide to do, I think, is just reduce a couple. They're pretty slow, 66. Yeah, it was worth a little overtake. No problem. That was the one that overtook me before. My speed has stayed pretty similar. So, look at the black Honda in the left lane. Just making sure, I just used a touch more there, because that black Honda came out and the one in the middle lane then swerves. I didn't want to be right next to it. Back in's totally fine, no problems there. Now, a little bit more gas now, just so I'm in a pocket of space to deal with these. I didn't want that van moving towards me. I've got an escape route in case the white one comes out, ready with my horn. Totally fine. Taking a slip road off to the left. Do we overtake the coach or not? At the moment, I'm just hanging station. I think we are slightly catching. Just wary now of if the coach wants to move out, and I'll use even a mile an hour or two more just to get past that little bit sooner and then settle again. So people try and keep their speed absolutely steady. It's much safer to use one or two less or one or two more just to get past or hold back of that situation. Doing my utmost to make sure I'm not next to vehicles for any length of time. This is constantly how I work. No one pushing in, it's all fine. Taking the junction off towards the 62. About 44 minutes till I'm at destination. Just got to adjust my speed a little bit here. The blue one's actually taken a sensible option, the blue Corsa, just by staying this side of the lorry. I like that. That's pretty good, because then if the lorry does just dive across at the last moment, there's no issues. No problem for me. Is the white one going to wish to come in? I am taking lane 2. Just had a little sideways look and made sure there was no issue. This one behind is also a potential problem, so I am just going to tuck it back. If they want to go past, sound. No problems. Lorry's getting on with it quite nicely, but I am going to move to lane 2. Now I'm thinking I don't want to be next to the lorry at emerge time, but it looks as though we've got plenty there. There was an advisory speed limit of 50 on the bend, but weather conditions are good. What's the traffic like? Is there an obvious gap next to me? Yes, there is. Just keeping away from the BMW. Just keeping my speed up. Again, next to a pocket. So did you notice that that space stayed next to me all the time? Lorry, van in the outside lane. I'm going to position now before the van gets back to me for the lorry. I hope you could work out what was going on there and my thought process. It was important to do that early before that van got to that point where they could be thinking of coming back. The signal then was necessary, now not so. It's not affecting anyone. If you like that with your signals as well, it just forces you to observe a little more. Okie dokie. Pro. 73, a little fast. But on my speedo, it was only showing 71 on the GPS. So again, 1 or 2, not a big deal. Police won't even look at you. DVSA won't even look at you. Whatever test that you're doing, they won't even look at you for doing 1 or 2 above. Don't worry about it as much. Concentrate on this adjustment so you're able to fit in. Okay, we're going back in. No reason. Catching the Mercedes in lane 1 slightly wasn't going to benefit anything, so stayed put. Wasn't going to affect anyone behind. Catching the Toyota in lane 2, little signal, I'm within overtaking range. These could be thinking about a move out as well, so it helps them. So next potential problem that we've just had one road go off. We know what's coming next. Road could be coming on, just turning the temperature up a little. What am I going to do with the lorries? They're nicely spaced, and the junction. I'm staying put just a little second because I'm just seeing where this lorry is going to move to. I'm now going to head back, just adjusting for the Mini. I might abandon here. Yeah, I'm abandoning and going back out. Don't be scared of doing that if you need to. No issues. Things do change. Things do alter when you first look at things. It's quite likely the Mini was going to come out there. Maybe I should have read that one a little bit better, but maybe they could have shown a little bit more patience. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Just fix it. And if you have these options around you, it actually matters very little. Notice I was already slowing down to deal with the Kia. It was pretty obvious that one was coming out as well. Any problems? So yeah, always be careful of coming back in where other people might wish to use your space, but it's down to both of you to fix it and sort it. Would I move out if someone was coming back? No. But it can work the other way around as well. So again, it's impossible to mind read every single little thing that everyone's going to do every single time. So therefore, having these little pockets is really important. Staying put, lorry's coming out 2 ahead. So if we're doing 70, we're obviously going to be catching the lorry. Renault's going back in. I think this one's going to come back out again. I'm not actually sure why they came back in. We've got 4.9 miles until we join the M62. I'm a little close, so notice I just reduced my speed. I've got a little bit better gap now. Do I want to be next to this lorry? Well, in theory, I should be safe out here, because should that lorry driver use lane 3 in this situation? The answer is no. However, again, I wouldn't trust anyone as far as could throw them. So I didn't want to spend much time, so I held back in that area where I could still see the driver in the mirror. That increases the likelihood of me being seen rather than being a little bit further forward and underneath the door on the driver's side. And that one was pretty obvious as well. And lorry's coming out. That's all okay. That was the one that didn't anticipate brilliantly before, the Kia. Okay. So yeah, just be very careful of being alongside lorries, because until you drive one, you don't really have an understanding of the blind spots in them, even behind their big mirrors. I know some of them have got the cameras for mirrors nowadays, which aren't very good. I'm hoping someone can lend me a car with some of those cameras on so I can slaughter it, but after me saying that, it probably won't happen. But anyway, it's another one for another day. don't sit in lorries' blind spots for any longer than necessary. So we're all good. We're doing 70, catching everyone. Just being aware of other people's need to move now when you're out in this lane 3. It's a slightly different mindset. Junction. Just can't see very well behind the Kia. There's a lorry there. White van's coming out that side. Yeah, I was just looking over there at that point. Can't see very well behind these, so I'm picking my spaces. And I'm just aware of anyone just coming straight out, or the need for any of these lorries again, although they shouldn't be in this lane, their need to come out. A tip of lorries out in lane 3. I'm going straight on. No problems with that. But behind's been pretty good. The Mini that I had to just adjust for before, they've showed some decent lane discipline there, that's fine. Now am I catching that one? Yeah. Going back in? Yeah. No. Just going to grow my space with the Skoda in front, just aware of people behind. Because if you're slowing and doing the correct thing, it can sometimes cause some impatience back there. But don't be pressured. If they undertake, just deal with it. There's so many impatient people out there nowadays, and part of this stuff that I'm doing is helping you create that calmness within your drive that's going to honestly keep you safe and keep you more switched on as well. You don't think correctly when you're all het up. So a little bit more. I am going to go back into the left. The lorry's totally fine. Little lean forward to make sure no one's coming from in behind the lorry. We are going to be heading off to the left shortly, and I'm just going to have a little pocket of space in here because the traffic looks really busy up ahead. Even though I may very well be catching the lorry, I'm quite happy just to sit here, reduce, and get a little bit of that peace. Give your brain a little bit of a break. What am I doing with this one? Past before the road changes. Happy. So notice they weren't adjusting their speed whatsoever to suit. It was just me. Oh, thought I was heading off. I'm not. I need to get back out again. There you go. Doesn't matter because we've got little pieces of space everywhere. That's all right. Is this section, I've been up here for a number of weeks, is this section limited speed limit again? So it was last time I drove up here. So even here, I'm aware of spaces. Look at the sill or the white Skoda. I thought for a little moment there that they were going to come out. We've got a foreign number plate. Maybe they didn't know where they were going. So I am just going to sit here for a little moment and just talk about what is happening when I'm in this lane. This will be a nice little comparison. Think about how much I've been talking about different things that are going on around. Don't have to talk about it as much if you're happy just staying here. I do have to deal with these to the left, and there's a potential for move. Where do I want to be with the white one and the black one? Where do I want to be with the lorries? I tell you what, watch this. Just back off. Is there enough room to get into that space? I'm not going to bother. They get their own lane anyway, but are they going to come out? So I'm just going to hold station here for a little mo. No one's coming out from their left. On with it again. So there's more for me to deal with here now because I'm in lane 2 other than there was before in lane 1. I know it wasn't a brilliant example, but I'm going to try and show you what I mean a bit further up here. Excuse me. I'm just going to get back to lane 1 and just hold station in there. I think that's the best gap for me to take. So, even there, where the lorries were coming out, notice my position, held back, kept myself some opportunity to my right hand side, still dealt with it comfortably and easily. But watch now. I'm just going to stay put for a little bit and see how much I have to deal with. So if I stay put in the same space as well, this car if possible, but same distance behind this lorry. I've got very little to deal with. And if you're maybe tired, I wouldn't say you need to come in here and fall asleep. Sometimes a window open and keeping yourself lively is a good option, but I don't really have to worry too much. I've just got to worry about people maybe using my space to come off here at Warrington East and Birchwood. Is this van going to do that? I don't care if he does. Just drop back again. So look, what have we got to worry about now? So that's an important part to it. I am going to get going and just stay out in front of this lorry, make a little bit of progress again, because it's going to be pretty boring if I sit there saying nothing. But hopefully you get the little point. Don't be scared of going back to lane 1 and just trundling. I often do that on longer drives where it just cuts down on your mental fatigue, and honestly you'll arrive at your destination a lot fresher. Honestly, it's a lovely method to go off and use. Leave a little earlier, leave 10 minutes earlier, and take that mindset within your drive. Much safer as well. Less tiredness, less cognitive load, less risk. The roads are risky. You're going to have to deal with it at some point, but just try it. If you don't, give it a go. I am going out again. I'm going to keep myself working. Now reassessing to see whether any of these are going to slow down or speed up, and I change my mind and alter what I'm doing. Who's going to use my space? So I'm watching the rate in which people are catching people in front of them. Don't want to sit next to people. I'm pushing it now, 73. On there's 71, so I'm still good. Still all right for me. Not a big deal. But I wouldn't go anymore. If I was going to have to use any more to get past, I wouldn't. I'd slow and I'd tuck it back. Silver one, lane 1 isn't an issue if I go back in here. Lorry, I'm not going to come out into lane or go back to lane 2 just yet, just in case that lorry wishes to move out from there. But I'm pretty happy to do it now. But because there's no one around, I just delayed and just did it a little bit after. I am catching the Tesla and the lorry in this lane 2. So already I'm assessing my space. Maybe a little bit of a needless get back there, but yeah, doesn't matter too much. Having this understanding of these pockets of space shouldn't fill you with dread lane changing, because you're constantly aware of the little pockets next to you all the time. Then you're never going to be in a situation where you're going to get caught without a gap, because I'm always on it. Going back in. Might encourage the Porsche, probably not. It might encourage the Tesla, yes it did, to get back in. We've got a reduced limit, so I'm doing this now before I get to the side. I am just going to set my limiter on at 61 on my speedo, which is 59 on my miles an hour. I could push it one more. Just on that, people may criticise for that. Well, hang on a minute. What if you're in a different car that reads slightly differently? Do the speed limit. So if that's not the true speed limit, and that is, in fact, it is running at 60, so I'm good with where I'm at. Limiters, for me, are a better way of doing things than cruise control. My personal opinion. I use a limiter much more than I do. And I've just released on guidance for driving tests that there's no issues. I was just aware of the red one. They've just released guidance for the driving tests that use of limiters and cruise control and certain aspects have all been okayed. So don't ever worry about using a speed limiter or cruise control on your driving test. And that's not just the driving instructor ones, it's your normal one as well. No issues, no problems. Okay, looks as though on my sat nav we've got a little bit of a queue, but not much going on. Noticed before as well when we were dealing with a red car when I was moving to lane 2, they were in 3, my lean forward. People say about shoulder checks, No, not at all, because you're going to take your attention away from there. If you lean forward, I can see the silver one. I can still watch in front, and I can see sideways. It's a much safer way of doing it. Have a go. If you're checking over your shoulder, you're taking your attention away, and the speed that we're all travelling at, things happen in an instant. 1.7 miles away, I might just stay put, because it looks as though we're in a little bit of traffic. Don't think much is going to happen here, but there's still a few little aspects to it that we can talk about. Okay, has there been any little new bits that I've just gabbed about there that maybe not something that you've ever thought about? What about sitting in lane one and just chilling out? I have mentioned that before, but did you think that would then reduce your mental workload and maybe help with fatigue, possibly? But again, did make the point, it's similar to driving an automatic for me. There's less engagement. Sometimes that makes people a little bit sleepy, so not saying that's going to work for everyone. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Cool. I'm just watching the plane take off. Haven't got a plane license. Have flown one though. I've flown one of them. Flown a helicopter as well. It would be something that I'd like to do, but I don't honestly think that I've got the time for it at the minute. Anyway, we will see for the future. But this pocket of space is much different on the motorways than how I drove on the urban situation. Not really. It is all about adjusting speed and just make sure that you've got that option. 1.3 miles away. I'm just going to sit in here. I've got plenty of time with where I need to be. I'm a few minutes late. So what? Message someone, obviously hands-free, and tell them you're going to be a little bit late. Doesn't matter. Safety on our roads is the most important thing. I do want to keep this going, although this little section isn't particularly interesting, because like I've mentioned, I'm in lane one, not much going on. Just aware of people. Toyota, so they're looking to get into this left lane. And look for people, look for clues. What clues could you pick up? You could look for people who are slowing lower than the flow of that traffic in lane two. People say about leaving space, or people just dive in it, and 3 people dive into that space you've created. It doesn't make any difference to you, because they're going past you. They'll just dive into a space and maybe cause a bigger hold up a little bit further up. I don't get people's mentality sometimes. Closing space down and you're not using my space is rife. This is filmed a couple of days after that driving instructor in Leeds that I talked about earlier, and you can see it's not riled me. I don't know the word to describe, but honestly, I'm just so disappointed that there's driving instructors out there who act in this way. That way that she drove is the polar opposite of what we're talking about here, isn't it? Just make some of the comparisons, some of the statements. If you pull out and you've got in my way, I'm going to crash into you. Wow. Anyway, not going to go back there. Taking M60 north, we can see the all the gantries up ahead, and read that out there as opposed to any floor markings or whatever goes on, because that is the most important thing. You can tell from a long way off what's happening. Have we seen anyone yet who's moving slower than the traffic? What about the van that's just pulled in front of the red MG? Why would they pull in there? Why would they slow down? It's obvious, isn't it? Got both of these 2 lanes going to the M60 North, so they've found a way in. It's all fine. Look for any little thoughts of anyone coming in. Look for a little bit of movement when they're in a queue. Look for a wheel turn. Look for a position change. That can happen quite subtly without a big steer of the wheel. So look for these things. So all of these things can give you an idea of whether anyone's going to wish to jump in front of us. Should have bought my motorbike tonight, shouldn't I? And then that's just my car oversensitive front sensors. Should have bought me a motorbike tonight and been cutting through the traffic. Did think about it as well. Yeah. Okay, I suppose I could have done this same video on my motorbike as well. Wouldn't have made a difference. Same process applies. Okay. When are people gonna wish to jump ship from lane 2 or whatever? It's when their lane's slower than this one. Look for it. Look for it. They'll always go, oh, this lane's moving faster. Quick, move. A bigger space in a queue in traffic could mean this one was slightly moving this way, the silver Focus. It didn't move in the end, but that's the type of thing that I'm looking for. So yeah, people will always go, oh, that lane's moving slightly faster than mine for this little moment in time. I'm going to jump lanes. So look for that. Keep an eye on your mirrors in situations like this. I've just mentioned my motorbike, but that's something that's influencing on our pocket of space. Don't forget, you're aware of a pocket next to you, then someone's going to come in between. That's obviously a problem. Even here, look at the position I'm taking up while I'm rubbing my eye with the Toyota. That was the one that was signalling, I think, before. I was saying they were wanting to come over. There you go, space closer. A space closer. Well done, mate. Perfect example. That got you far, mate, because he's just gonna go up ahead in front of you anyway. There you go. People don't want to queue. I get that. But the best way for everyone's progress is to honestly just let it happen. But if you are the driver of this Salford van hire van, come on. We've got a sat-nav nowadays. Your phone's on your dashboard. You know how many lanes are coming up. You know what's going on. Do you really think that's going to save you that much time that it's worth that? Of holding traffic up in the flowing side of the motorway to then push in at the last moment. And to the driver of the other van, hopefully you see that and you just see how absolutely pointless it was. You're in the same position in the queue because you've just forced them to go further up. What a plum. It's interesting when I put it on those terms, isn't it? Again, is that something that you've thought about? If not, just remember it the next time that someone is going to come in front of you. Frightening. Anyway, hopefully we get a little bit more pace a bit further up so we can get back to this pocket of space. I'll be a minute late to where I need to go now. Anyway, is what it is. A minute's not long enough for me to message. Where junctions split, be aware of your space more than ever. Get rid of the person at my front door. yeah, be aware of people more than ever. It wasn't that van that closed the space down before. I'll keep an eye out for them as well, because they're going to be issues. Is anyone going to be last moment diving to a different place? Interesting this as well, because this goes in a different direction. 2 lanes, then there's 1 lane to south and east, M60. We're going north, so we're good round to the left. Busy part of the road, this one. It's a nice little emerge. I used to do this every single day when I drove over to Huddersfield when I played over there. 40 limit on the gantries, so it's obviously busy. This section's always chocker. So notice where I'm sat. Yes, I'm next to the lorry, but I just made sure I could see him, and I was happy with their consistent position before I then went past. Takes a moment, doesn't hold you up, you can always build your speed after that. Now, what little pocket am I going to position next to? Past the BMW, I think so, because of the flow of the traffic. Now where am I going to get to? Police driver's too close to the lorry in front. That might leave me an opportunity if they go, so I'm going up here. But yeah, I'm just in this one's little blind spot. Police driver's moved away. Nice little pocket next to me. Look at the van driver behind. Closed that space down. Frightening. Absolutely frightening. I'm going to get out as well. I'm going to do a little bit of work. There's only a 40 limit. Look at the van driver, but that closed that space down. Now, notice what happened there as well. I used the vehicle moving to the left to help me move to the right. Swap. That's quite important. I am going to look to get out, but I'm just going to choose to do it after this guy, because this guy's problem. Look where he's positioned. Look at him. So I'm just always going out. That's all right, it's fine. I am going to try and go a little further. But notice I moved behind this guy. Brook Therm Refrigeration Limited from Liverpool. Balancing act here, yes. Catching the Discovery slightly. But I don't want to go into that problem. Discovery needs to show a little bit better lane discipline. She's moving out. Not actually going back. We do have a national speed limit. All good. Delaying. Now my delay may have caused an issue, so I'm just affecting, or my acceleration, I'm just making sure I don't affect this silver one. And I'm just leaving them enough chance to come back. I'm going to see whether they want to swap. No, and I'm going out further. So the sideways glance is a little different than a shoulder check. I'm going to try and make that little bit of progress, so I've got work to do. Be aware of people coming out. Could this blue van come out? If people are changing lanes from lane 2 over there, coming this way, they could. There's a lorry in front of them as well. Just held back for a little second. Reduced limit to 60 now. So where's my little pocket I would like to get into? It is in here. Little lean. Making sure no one's coming out. A little shoulder check that time, and I'm just sat in this Merlin van's shoulder. So I just got to here, and now I'm going to grow my space, but I don't want to sit in that too long. There. Better. I am going to lean. and I am coming back. There's a lot going on there, and I had to be really altering everything that I was doing. Now we've got a national speed limit again. I'm prepping for it because I'm going to be quicker than these lorries. We've got 2.7 miles until we're out. Fine, go on then, buddy. Don't have to flash. Just make it clear with my positioning. And now he's taken my space. I'm just dropping back, but I don't want to sit in here. I'm going further because that lorry was going to potentially come out as well. Good. Nice little situation. I'm not saying good to myself. I'm saying good I've been able to demonstrate these things. I'm not that narcissistic to be congratulating myself. Wow, it sounded like that. It wasn't. I'm just aware of the silver one here. Is he going to look sideways? He's not. I'm just delaying. He's not looked sideways once. He's just in front. So I'm picking my time to go back in now. Picking my time to go back in when I'm in front, but I'm aware of the van now. That was an awkward little situation as well, to plan where I was going to move back. And he's on his phone, that guy. Might report that one. It's disgraceful. So by the time this has gone out, that guy would have been reported. Okay, 1.5 miles, what's going on? You know what, I'm back in. No point in this busyness of traffic. Think about what I said before about the van that was pushing in last moment. Why do that? It doesn't help flow. Is it gonna alter my arrival time by too much if I come in here now? No. Might be by 15, 20 seconds. Who cares? Grey one, where's that one going? Where is the grey Mazda going? Be surprised if this van doesn't as well, because they zoomed up. Let's have a look at them two. See whether the clues are there. But yeah, it's not going to alter my arrival time too much. Grey Mazda's just come in. 1. Am I going to win 2-0? Or is that van going to have me off? Let's have a look at it. Hopefully this lorry's not going to block our view. I'm not going to go further up. Anyway, doesn't matter. You get the point that I'm making. I'm aware of this lorry to my right last minute coming in. I don't think they would at this late notice, but you never know. So I'm just making it a little easier. If they were to, they might have got the directions wrong. Doesn't matter. Anyway, the motorway was what was asked for with this pocket of space, and that's what you've got. It's a nice time of day to do it for everyone as well. So I'm really happy with how that's turned out, because it's been a good few little situations there as well. Any questions, please ask in the comments. If you haven't done already, please subscribe. It's a massive help to get my my messages out there to many people. Please like the video, share it if you possibly can. I know you all support my cause brilliantly, and you all have done over the years. Please, it's a perfect time to probably get someone a Christmas present. Use the link in the description via Faux Dash Cams, 5% off. Use the code Ashley. Sorry for the plugs, but these little bit of extras that I can make from YouTube, honestly, they make it so much better. I can spend more time doing the things that I need to do to create the correct content. So in any case, that's that. I am turning right here shortly, so I'll wrap this up and I'll see you all soon. Thanks for tuning in.